Support WrestleTalk!
Tell a friend. Did we just find out who Shane McMahon's WrestleMania 34 match will be against? I'm Ollie Davis, this is Luke Owen, welcome to WrestleRamble, where today we're reviewing last night's WWE Fastlane pay-per-view. We're going to kick off with that main event of AJ Styles versus John Cena versus Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler, kind of versus Shane McMahon, kind of versus the fantastic Columbus, Ohio crowd. Weren't they fantastic?
I thought they were dead for a few matches, but I think that the people worked very hard to turn... But I would say that I don't blame the crowd for that. They've been given no reason to be loud for those matches. But credit to Bobby Roode and Randy Orton for turning the crowd around, and Charlotte and Ruby Riott for turning the crowd around as well. Like when the crowd wasn't into it, the wrestlers themselves managed to get the crowd into it. So really credit to them, and I enjoyed the crowd.
Well, I think the crowd... I really do think the crowd made a lot of matches better here. It wasn't just the action, but they were there to have a good time. So I really enjoyed this main event.
I enjoyed it too, but it's very difficult to not enjoy a match where six guys are just doing absolute carnage around the ring. Like, it's the same as the match on Tuesday SmackDown when you had the Fatal 5-Way. It's hard.
That was only 5 guys.
Well, what I was going to say
was better because there's 6.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I really enjoyed that SmackDown main event because it's difficult not to enjoy a match like that when there is just utter carnage everywhere and there's just a lot of guys doing a lot of stuff and it just seems like good fun to watch. You had a superstar, like a genuine star like John Cena in there, obviously missing from Tuesday because he's too big to work Tuesdays, then you get an absolutely corker of a match. I really enjoyed the main event.
Well, let's talk about one of my favourite moments of the match first, and then we'll do a full rundown of this match, and then the rest of the card, is when Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens start to implode. So earlier in the night, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are backstage in the locker room area, and Sami's like, "Oh, how's it going, man?" And Kevin Owens is like, "Dude, you super kicked me, you gave me a haluva kick and pinned me on the go home show." He didn't say those exact words on Tuesday. And Sami was like, "Oh yeah, that was Tuesday, but tonight I'm laying down for you."
Yeah.
And Kevin Owens is like, "Whatever, man. I'm not getting sucked into this again." So in the match, you get to the bit where it's just Owens and Zayn in the ring. Zayn lays down. And Owens is like, "I don't know whether to trust him, because of course if you go down to pin him, he could easily roll you up." And Owens did what he should have done in my opinion, and that's try and pop up powerbomb. He started to lift Sami Zayn up to attack him, and then Sami got him into a cradle. So there's that element of doubt there now.
Yes.
Or maybe Sami was going to lay down for his best friend.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I thought the spot was going to be that Kevin was then going to try and pin Sami, and that's when Shane breaks up the pinfall or drags the referee out or drags Owens out. But that's actually what we didn't get. As you said, Owens tried to pick Zayn up, and then the pair of them just started brawling around ringside, and eventually Kevin super kicked Shane McMahon, who was just sat at ringside. I mean, didn't really have a reason to be there other than
Shane McMahon.
Other than to be super
Ohio.
kicked. He had to get super kicked by someone, I guess. And he can't do that when he's backstage. So he got super kicked by Owens, and then Owens powerbombed Ziggler.
It was someone. Was it Corbin? I can't remember. It was someone. Let's go with Ziggler.
I think it was Ziggler, and he had the match won, but Shane then pulled the referee out.
I honestly didn't see that coming. I'm an idiot sometimes, and I just get sucked up in the moment, and which is what good wrestling should do. You shouldn't really be thinking, "Oh, but they've got to get towards the WrestleMania plans in 4 weeks' time." You should be, "I don't know what's going to happen next. This is chaotic." And it was such a fun match with so many fun little spots and brawls into the crowd and announcers table bumps and stories that you're invested in unfolding. That when Owens hit that on whoever it was, Ziggler.
I think it was Ziggler.
I genuinely was like, "Oh my God, Owens is going to win."
Yeah.
In that moment, I thought Owens was going to win. The referee's hand was coming down. It's his finisher. And I completely forgot about Shane McMahon. So when Shane McMahon pulled out the referee, I was like, "Oh my God." Great spot, great booking. And then, you were going to go on to say...
And then Sami hits Kevin with the haluva kick as Kevin stands up and starts arguing with Shane. Sami hits the haluva kick, goes to pin Kevin, and then Shane and he had the match won as well, and then Shane drags Sami out, and then they have the argument. And the key to this is right at the end of the match, when AJ is celebrating because he retained his championship. both Sami and Kevin are sort of sat at ringside just looking dejected because they haven't won the WWE Championship. And Shane just walks past and looks at both of them and then walks on, back on towards the back. So you've got to wonder now, are Sami and Kevin going to put aside whatever differences they may have had for the last couple of weeks to, reunite the Yep movement and go against Shane McMahon, who did screw both of them out of winning the WWE Championship. And Corey Graves quite rightly was saying, Shane has overstepped his mark here. He shouldn't be interfering. And he shouldn't have interfered. He was being a dick, basically, by not letting them win. So it should be an interesting thing. But as I said in the in the Fastlane review, hopefully this will lead to a WrestleMania match and we can put this feud behind us and all move on with our lives.
Because Shane was, there was an accident that he got kicked. Mm-hmm. The fact that he went in, Shane is such a heel here. And it's quite clear to me, and I guess to you, and I'm pretty sure to everyone watching, Shane is either a heel or a shades of grey character. He's nowhere close to a babyface. But I think WWE thinks he's a babyface.
I did a video about this very topic, saying that WWE think that he's the babyface, but we, as the audience, are like, no, I'm pretty sure that he's the heel.
Was it last Tuesday or the Tuesday before when he's just obnoxiously walking around backstage with the popcorn, saying, "Nope, you're out of here. You've got this thing to do. You're a heel, cocky son of the COO of the companies."
It was not the COO. That's Triple H.
The owner.
The owner. I thought this was a really, really decent main event, and I really liked that spot. But I think what kind of struck me about the match was that everyone got their moment to shine.
They got their S word in.
Except for Dolph Ziggler. Dolph was just a complete non-factor in this match. Corbin looked great. Corbin had his moment where he was running wild with his steps. He was choke slamming people. He was just, when he hits that deep six on AJ.
It was amazing.
It's my favourite person in the world for him to hit deep six on, because they just spins around the earth turns backwards. He spins around that fast. And he was just hitting all of his big moves on people. He looked awesome while doing it. But Dolph in this match did absolutely nout.
He went through the protective plastic area. That was cool, but that was from Corbin. Yeah, Corbin got more of a heat thing than Ziggler did.
Absolutely,
it's baffling. And I think for everyone who was like, "Oh, Dolph's back. Dolph signed this reported $1.5 million contract," which might not be real. That was not from an authoritative source. Maybe WWE are finally going to get behind him again. Not by the booking of this match. No, he was the lowest featured person in here.
And then there were stories over the weekend that the WrestleMania 34 match was going to be Dolph versus Shane. And that was going to be built up in this match because Dolph's promo I think it was on Tuesday. It was on Tuesday, where he said, "I've never had a singles match at WrestleMania. In the 13 years that I've been with WWE, I've never had a singles match at WrestleMania." So there was a story that he was going to get his singles match at WrestleMania, and it was going to be Dolph versus Shane. But this match very much suggests that it's the Shane, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn tournament, which I'm really happy about. I'm so glad, because that Shane versus Dolph would have just come out of nowhere. It would have felt like a really thrown together match just to get Dolph on the card, because the story has been since October, Shane versus the Yep movement. So to then just kind of stop that and do something else for WrestleMania would have been very baffling. So I'm glad they're going in this direction.
Yeah, while it's been drawn out for so long, way too longer than it should have been, with very slow progression at points. Please pay it off. Please pay off this weird McMahon, Daniel Bryan, Yep movement thing. So, what do you think they are building towards here? Actually, I forgot, because you did mention that final shot of Shane McMahon walking. We give a lot of flack to Kevin Dunn and whatnot for the many cuts a second WWE filming style. I thought the direction and the staging in these last moments after the match were superb. You had that shot because Zayn and Owens, one was by the ring apron, the other one was by the barricade. They both look across from each other, looking at each other. Shane's in the middle, WrestleMania sign in the background. It didn't look staged, but it was very staged and very well done. But then in the ring with John Cena and AJ Styles, and the camera goes up to this deflated John Cena in the corner, and it gets right up into his face and he just pushes it away into the direction of AJ Styles, who's celebrating, and he looks over at John. I just thought, so many bits being told there visually.
And that's what I mean. Like in terms of this match, in terms it's setting up storylines for WrestleMania. It set up AJ retaining so he can face Shinsuke Nakamura. The dream match, as they kept putting over on commentary, it's the dream match we've all been waiting for. You had Kevin and Sami and Shane McMahon, and they were putting that over on commentary. And then you had John Cena losing his WrestleMania momentum. Well, it hasn't had any momentum, but this was his last chance to get a WrestleMania match. And he's there deflated, he's pushing the camera away. And Baron Corbin had his like destruction scene where he was kind of like throwing Dolph into the protective area, running wild on everyone. And so he got his moment, but Dolph just got absolutely nailed in this. Like, he really was a sixth wheel in this match. And it really surprised me in how little he had in this match, considering that everyone else got something.
Yeah, well, Shane McMahon
got more.
He got more. Yeah, when he came out at the start, I thought, oh god, he's added himself in as well. So where do you think Sami Zayn, McMahon, and Kevin Owens are going?
Well, I always assumed it was going to be a tag match. I thought they were going to build towards, should he be able to, Shane and Bryan versus Kevin and Sami. But if Bryan can't get cleared, which is most likely he won't be able to, it will be Shane and a partner versus Kevin and Sami. Maybe that could be Dolph. And then maybe you have Bryan in there as a guest referee, which is much better than, because there was a rumour, I think it was from the Wrestling Observer, that said that Kevin and Sami were going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah, those were the current plans according to the Observer.
Yeah.
But that didn't seem to be the case going by this.
God, Lord, I hope not, yeah.
Did you see Owens' tweet over the weekend?
Yeah.
He tweeted out a picture, a screen grab from a Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal from years past, and just tweeted with the caption, "Tape study." So I think that's Owens playing with the dirt sheets.
I'd say
I think a Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon three-way could be quite nice. I can't remember where. This isn't my idea. I saw this somewhere else. I can't remember where, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd give those people credit. With Daniel Bryan as a special guest referee. Yeah,
I was going to say you could insert Bryan in there as a guest referee, even if you do the tag match. Say you had like Shane and a partner, which I always thought it was going to be Randy. I thought they were going to do Shane and Randy versus Kevin and Sami, but Randy's now the US champ and is clearly going into a three-way with him, Bubbles, and Jinder. So yeah, I mean, a tag match, maybe a three-way. That would be the third three-way. No. Be the fourth three-way on the card.
Fourth three-way.
Yeah.
Well, for now, who knows who's going to get added to the other matches?
Yeah.
So let's quickly run through that match as a whole. What a lovely opening sequence after Shane McMahon comes out. So you've got all these six men. It looked crammed in there, and it starts with Cena hitting AAs on everyone. Each guy runs up to them. Yes, it made them look stupid, but it was great, I thought. But the last person to run up was AJ, and he stopped. And Cena and Styles, who really have had a great rivalry and a history of matches behind them, I thought that was a really nice moment, the way they structured that.
Yeah, really nice as well. And especially because it also paid off later on when Cena and Styles had their little tete-a-tete and they had some some moves between each other. Then everyone got back into the ring and
Shield style on the apron.
Yeah, and surrounded John Cena. And all of a sudden Cena was just like, ruh-roh. Like, I'm gonna get my ass kicked here, and lo and behold, he did. All five guys just ganged up on him and beat him down. I thought that was a really nice spot.
And the crowd was so hot throughout. It was, of course, you got Shane McMahon out there, but it was almost like an 8-man match with the crowd involved.
I've written here, this is wild and crazy action. It's impossible to take notes.
That's it.
It really was hard to take notes.
I gave up writing the spots down after a while. It was like everyone was always coming off a hot tag.
Yeah.
And it was a 6-tag match.
Yep.
And because you'd have someone run wild and do a load of their finishes, then it was someone else's turn. So, I mean, yeah, it was great action, really fast-paced.
It's crazy to think this match only went about 20 minutes, but it felt like it went so much longer because they crammed so much into those 20 minutes.
But it also flew by.
Yeah,
which is like, I think that's the perfect thing, you know, when something feels very substantial, but it goes... You completely forget you exist and you're just watching this match. Styles clash on Cena. Great near fall from when Sami Zayn broke that up, I thought. And that's when Baron Corbin goes after Ziggler. Owens gets AJ on the commentators' table. He's cleared both commentators' tables, though. And I thought, Owens is going through something. But it wasn't Owens. It was Cena putting AJ through the other table with an AA. I mean, what would you call...
Because it's an AA.
But he doesn't go down with them. I always thought some of the force of the AA is Cena's arm coming down with them, But this was just a lob.
Yeah.
It was a human lob.
It's an AA through a table.
Yeah.
That's what I'd have said. I think that's what I put in my notes.
And that's when Sami and KO started going up against each other. And when they started warring, the crowd really got behind it. It was a good visual, but I was just a bit like, why?
Well, this is it. And we said this on Wednesday's show. Can you imagine putting these two together on SmackDown and then 5 months later being like, nah, we're done with this now. Like, this team had so many more months together. Like, we were, saying they could have been tag champs. You could have done loads of them for over the year. You could have put them together for a year, 18 months, maybe even towards 2 years before you do their big blow-off match again. But like, it just seems weird to kind of like rush it now. And I think that's why I'm not into this feud as much, is because I didn't want them to have this moment now. I wanted to have this moment much further down the line. So yeah, but it was, the crowd were into it.
I'm completely with you there. It's the eternal feud is a great concept, and I want them to feud again in the future. But like you said, not now.
Yeah.
Now's when you build them up as an act together. So when they do break up, it feels like a bigger thing. But now you've spunked that. So what are you going to do? Then it has the Sami and Shane and Owens triangle. And then we had... it was on Ziggler. You're right, Kevin Owens pop-up powerbomb on Dolph. But then Corbin brings the steel steps in. So, unsung hero of Fastlane, the steel steps.
Yep. Not only did they get under the ropes perfectly fine.
Yep.
But they laid out poor old Xavier Woods.
We'll talk
brutal. Talk about that.
It looked like he was glitching when he was selling.
Don't even talk about it, but we'll talk about it a bit later on.
And then Cena gives Corbin an AA on the steps. Ziggler breaks up that pin. Owens gives Cena a pop-up powerbomb, but it's AJ coming over with the phenomenal forearm on Owens, because you haven't seen AJ for a bit. He was put through the table for the win. And and then they at the end they put up that's confirmed, it's AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania. And we knew that was going to happen, but there was enough dramatic intrigue.
Did we?
Yeah, well,
there were a lot of people who thought it was going to be the three-way.
But when I saw that graphic, I was like, damn, that feels good.
That's a much better choice. And I completely agree. It was like a damn, that feels good moment. Just one other spot I wanted to mention that I thought was really cool in this match. I think Dolph hit a DDT, and as he hit the ground, Owens came off with the bullfrog splash. And it was just like a lot of the stuff was just so well timed in here. Didn't look rehearsed, didn't look choreographed. It just looked really natural. And yeah, it was just a really great spot.
And if anyone is interested, I don't know why you would be, I gave it 4.25 stars on the douchebag scale. So we're going to go through the rest of the card now, even the pre-show. But first, because this is the first WrestleRamble since it's happened, thank you so much for 500,000 subscribers. We've passed 500,000 on WrestleTalk. But like I said on the news, nothing's going to change here. It's just me and Luke as always.
Yeah, about that. This looks quite pricey. And,
It's this old thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look that old.
No, I've had this for ages.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is new. This was expensive. But, if you can't treat yourself when you pass 500,000 subscribers, when can you? Maybe at 1 million, I guess.
Oh, maybe. I might buy myself a Yorkie today.
A Yorkie?
As a way
Let's
to
not
celebrate.
go crazy. But, of course, this Friday, we're going to have our 500k day celebrations. So make sure to subscribe now on we need what rhymes with 1 million?
The build to 1 mil. This is why I don't do these bits.
That rhymes about as much as the words support and WrestleTalk. So that's not going to work.
You haven't spent a lot of money on Friday's party, have you?
It's 500k day.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think.
Just want to make sure.
It's going to be a lot of fun. You want to be there. So subscribe, enable notifications, because if you're subscribed, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get everything. It's the way YouTube's algorithm works. But notifications, you should be notified about every video that goes up. And podcast listeners as well. You'll want to tune into the actual visual element of this program. Yes, very, very happy. And we couldn't have done it without you, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the pre-show kicked off with Breezango and Ty Dillinger. There he is. We were wondering where he got to. Beating Mojo Rawley and American Beta.
Yeah, it was as good as you would expect a random 6-man tag on a pre-show to be.
It was started off with a bit of comedy wrestling. Ty Dillinger gave Fandango a wrestling headgear because Chad Gable was like, come on, wrestle me properly. And then Chad Gable actually got on all fours, so someone had a free shot, and Tyler Breeze just sat on him and rode him like a horse. That was all fun. Crowd, you can't wrestle chants to Mojo Rawley. And the crowd was so into it. 10 chants for Ty's hot tag. It was sloppy. There was a few botches. Chad couldn't do the rolling German suplex as nicely as he usually does. But Ty won by beating Mojo. I don't get that. I don't know why you wouldn't put Mojo over. I feel like he's got the most...
He's got the most to gain, but it's not like he has momentum.
Yeah. Just out of all those teams, Mojo Rawley and American Beta are the hotter act with more stuff behind them than Breezango and Ty Dillinger. So
maybe,
but it's a pre-show match. Who cares?
Exactly.
But the main
it's like mixed match challenge. It's non-canon.
Yeah, the main card kicked off with Shinsuke Nakamura beating Rusev.
Well, I thought the show really started off with that video package that made the build to Fastlane look much better than it actually was. The build, the video package, I was like, man, this is going to be a good show.
Yeah, WWE can make a great video package.
Can't they just?
Yeah.
Really, really great stuff. But I actually quite enjoyed this as a fun little opener. I thought that both guys worked really well. Aiden is back to singing, but he did a rap at the start as well, which was quite funny. Back to the singing gimmick. They're steel heels. That's very silly. But I thought, actually, as a match, it was really good. And I thought, do you know what I was really impressed with? And this sounds ridiculous to say. Really impressed with Rusev in this match, because Rusev is awesome. But his selling in the match was so good. Like, selling
I was going to say the same thing.
Selling of the heel hook that Shinsuke Nakamura was like limping, but then when he had him in the front face lock and then he was trying to catch his breath back, I just thought it was some really great stuff in there.
Yeah, that choke, and he really got across. But I much preferred the selling of the left knee because he wasn't selling like, oh no, I'm in peril, look at me, because like we've said this before, why would you sell like that in a fight? Because you're saying, please, opponent, attack this area that is wounded. But Rusev was kind of selling in a way that he was trying to hide that he was injured, just shaking off his left knee. That's the New Japan way of selling as well.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. But later on, he then did his stomping gimmick on that leg. Why would you... You did such good work. Why doesn't... What did that kick just... the injury just go away?
He just walked it off, mate.
Yeah.
So sometimes...
It's the fire, the adrenaline.
There are these injuries that you get that you tweak your knee a little bit. Like footballers get this a lot. You tweak your knees, like, just run it off, mate.
Yeah.
Just run it off, you'll be fine.
Football, sports.
That's why I used to get told in PE all the time, but I was faking because I was trying to get out of actually playing football.
It still hurts, sir.
Yes, it hurts, sir. I can't run, mate.
it.
Oh, and I forgot my kits.
Do it in your pants.
Yeah, I used to get that a lot. Yeah,
it's a bit weird. I don't think you can do that these
days.
No,
I think times have probably changed, probably for the better.
Yes. My favourite spot of the match, though, was near the end. Nakamura runs in for the Kinshasa. Rusev clocks him with a matchka kick.
So cool.
That was great.
That was great.
So
and a really good near fall, actually. The crowd really bought into that near fall.
The crowd, again, were really hot for this. It was just I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
Fun opener. 3.25 stars on the douchebag rating scale. You're not going to give stars?
No, that's only for Ramble Club. Wow. When I sort of half-arse it and don't really give scores.
When you make it up on the spot, you go, I guess it was 4.
And then you say, why is it 4? I go, I don't know. I've changed my mind. 3.5.
3.5. And we both correctly predicted this for a Nakamura win. But something Luke didn't predict.
No, I should... really, the big lesson, the big takeaway from this, and you and I were texting about this morning, the way to predict WWE shows in the future is just to half-arse it. Because you got a clean sweep across everything here, and you couldn't have given 2 tosses about the show.
Yes.
That's the way you do it, mate.
Well, I was sort of like, I don't care, this is too predictable, so I'm going to put in a few things that I think WWE would do if they thought, oh, this card's too predictable. Title change. That one there.
Yeah.
So, and the clean sweeped it. And didn't we clean sweep Elimination Chamber?
I clean sweeped Elimination Chamber and the Rumble.
And the Rumble. And I clean sweeped Clash of Champions.
Yeah. Oh, mate, look at us go.
Pretty good. I mean, you don't know who to go with, but between us...
Mate, we're pretty good at our jobs.
Yeah, but is this part of our job? We don't get bonuses, unfortunately. On how right we are.
If you introduced it getting a bonus for this, I might try harder.
So just do it better.
Just do
next
it better,
time.
yeah.
So, yes, this was Randy Orton beating Bobby Roode for the WWE United States Championship.
Another great video package.
This makes Orton a Grand Slam winner.
Certainly does, yeah. Randy won the US Championship, the championship that has eluded him, as they kept saying, rather than like the championship he's never gone for. I'm pretty sure this might be like one of the first times he's ever really challenged for the
he
US
said that on
Championship.
Talking Smack. He
Did
was
he
like,
really?
well, I've never had the opportunity. And WWE's all about opportunities.
Of course it is.
And then he talked about how much he enjoyed John Cena crying at Elimination Chamber.
I haven't watched Talking Smack yet, but when I saw that Randall was on it, I was like, I might watch that because it would just be Twitter troll Randy Orton, just off script being a dick.
Great value. I mean, it's a shame Daniel Bryan wasn't at this show, because Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack with Randy Orton.
Who was it with? Rosenberg?
Sam. And I like, I've forgotten his last name.
Roberts.
Sam Roberts. Because I really like his podcast. But and he must be so excited to be there and doing this with WWE. And he's a professional, so he's just like putting on the professional thing. But I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking, man, what are you doing? You're shilling now.
Him
like you.
Yeah, I was going to say, such a WWE shill, man.
Shill.
Yeah, like I liked this show as well. Such a shill for WWE at the moment.
It was like Renee Young was really natural in only the way Renee Young can be.
God bless
Randy
her.
Orton is shooting everywhere. He even talked about everyone's pointing at the sign at the moment, aren't they? It's just he didn't care. And then that was awesome. The worst bit about this segment was Sam Roberts then going, yeah, but man, Jinder's got your number. I was like,
And also, no, he doesn't.
Well, he does apparently.
Why is
because he
that?
beat him so much last year.
Oh. Yeah, but then Randy beat him
Yeah.
clean on TV when the title wasn't on the line.
It doesn't matter, really, does it?
No.
But the actual match, which was plodding, I think that's the best way to sum up my feelings.
I actually really liked it.
Oh, did you?
I really, really enjoyed this match. I thought that it was... They're kind of sort of like feeling each other out, so to speak. At the start of the match, sort of both going for finishes and this that, and the other. And like, I really got into this match, and the crowd were dead at the start of this match, as you said, because it was quite plodding. But I would not use the word plodding. I would use the word methodical, which is another word for plodding.
Yeah.
And but then the crowd kind of like reflected that. But by the end, the match started. I thought it was really good. The crowd really got into it, and it's very rare that I enjoy Randy Orton matches, but I really enjoyed this one.
I don't think that's. I think their styles are a bit too similar.
Because it's Triple H versus Randy Orton.
Yeah. So it wasn't really. It didn't grab me. I tell you what I did like. It did. I felt like the US title being on the line gave it a dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Like this wouldn't have worked if it was just a thrown together match or a blood feud. I thought the gold being there worked, but yeah, overall. It could have gone longer. Maybe I would have got into it more if it had another 5 minutes.
It couldn't have gone longer because we had video packages to do for Ronda Rousey and Roman Reigns.
But also like Bobby Roode, why are you diving off the second rope head forward?
Yeah, I was gonna say
offense in a match against Randy Orton.
Because he does the blockbuster in matches, which is what he was going for. But like if he was going for a blockbuster, there, it's the worst blockbuster he's ever going to do because you need to flip over to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And going forward is not the way to do that.
It's like a diving plank. Yeah,
and he was a plank to go for it.
Anyway, RKO from out of nowhere, and then Randy wins the US title for the first time in his career. Jinder Mahal, who was shown watching backstage earlier on, were at a ridiculous angle, as always.
I was going to say, the poor Singh brother was watching his back watching the screen.
Jinder runs down, beats up Orton afterwards, but Roode makes a save, delivers glorious DDTs to both men. I mean, maybe I'm reaching here. Bobby Roode looked angry.
This felt to me like a tease of a heel turn, and it can't come soon enough.
Yes,
because he was annoyed that he had lost the championship, and it was the maliciousness that he attacked Randy Orton because he attacked Jinder, which is fair enough because Jinder's come down for no reason to beat up Orton like a complete knob. But then Bobby out of nowhere just gives Orton the DDT for no reason, which is a heel move,
and he just looked angry on his face afterwards. He wasn't. I did because usually he would do that after losing the title and then just pose glorious with the light and everything. But I think I'm reaching though. I think tomorrow he'll be
Tuesday.
normal. Yeah, Tuesday he'll be not, which is tomorrow.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
I'm Luke. I know when days are. No, you don't, mate.
It's because I don't come in on a Monday.
Yeah.
My days are all to cock. I don't know where I am.
And I think on Tuesday, tomorrow, it's just going to be Jinder, Randy, and Bobby, and all their characters are going to be the same, but it's now a three-way.
I disagree. I think we're going to see... Well,
I hope.
Perhaps I'm reaching here. That I think we're going to see more heelish tendencies for Bobbles before we actually get to Randy... before we get to WrestleMania, where he will be a full-blown heel.
I gave it 3 stars.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I think that...
And you got that wrong and I got it right, just to reiterate.
I think with a hotter feud, with a better storyline, this match would have been even better.
Next up, a Ronda Rousey video package. Haven't seen one of those for a while. Then we had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn backstage. We talked about that earlier. It's when Kevin Owens stormed off because Sami said he was going to lay down for him tonight. Then we got another match that this guy correctly predicted. Natalya and Carmella beating Becky Lynch and Naomi in a thrown-together match that I actually missed the announcement for.
It was so funny. When Carmella pinned Becky Lynch, I was like, of course she did, because Becky tapped her out on Tuesday. How did I not see that coming?
Do you want to make
50-50 booking? That's how people get over.
Do you want to make your joke that you missed out?
Yeah,
of the,
that I missed this out in the review because I'm an idiot and I was clearly in a rush when I wrote it. Well, not that much. I'd take some care. But Becky Lynch wrestled in her Seth Rollins cosplay. Whoa! Back of the net. Lovely stuff.
Done.
Also, I've actually got an update on Tamina. Because you and I were talking about Tamina on...
I didn't see this. Please tell me.
The predictions show. We had a lot of people come back to let us know what has happened to Tamina. Thank you very much for all your correspondence. I've had emails, tweets. We had a lot of comments about it. She's currently in space. She and Lana are on a 5-year mission. They've gone to find a new renewable fuel source.
Great.
Problem is because
it's the best use of her.
Problem is because she's traveling so far, so fast at the speed of light. Well, she won't have aged today, but we'll all be dead by the time she gets back.
Oh wow!
So yeah, that's the latest Tamina update. Thank you for everyone who let us know.
Yeah, everyone let us know about that. It was crazy, wasn't it? YouTube comments, in space, Twitter space, our email addresses, luke@wrestletalk.com. She's in space.
She's in space, mate. It was good. It's good to know.
Don't know how.
No.
So, this match I actually thought was fine, wasn't it? This was.
I mean, it was the worst match on the card.
Yeah, this was fine.
This was
a fine match.
It was fine, but man, like they were blowing spots left, right, and centre towards the end. So what happened was that like Becky went to throw Natalya out the ring, but then realised she was going to throw her out the wrong side. So then changed her mind because she needed to throw her out on the other side because that's where the Money in the Bank briefcase was, which they needed for the finish. So she went to throw and then she was like, oh no, I need to throw it on the other side. And then it took them, 10, 15 minutes to work out that they were going the wrong side. And eventually they got thrown out. And then they threw the timing off a little bit, which was a bit of a shame. But it's, the match was fine.
I don't know why they needed the briefcase. Because, so Carmella and Becky Lynch are in the ring. Natalya is thrown out, and she comes back on the ring apron with the briefcase. Carmella's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
She's going to hit her with it.
Yeah, but then she doesn't use it, and Carmella just hits her, what did she hit?
Super kick.
It was a super kick for the win. So she didn't need the briefcase.
No.
She didn't use the briefcase.
No.
The referee's back was turned. They're both heels. Where was the heat? Like, what's the point of that spot?
Oh, there was no point to that spot.
There was intention of cheating, but Carmella didn't use it. So does that mean she's a baby face?
No, it's a
no, it doesn't. It's bad booking.
It's a distraction finish.
But it wasn't a distraction.
But it was
finish.
because Becky was distracted by Natalya up on the ring apron with the Money in the Bank
if
briefcase.
Anything, Carmella was distracted.
No, Becky was the one distracted because then she turned around and got a boot to the face.
I didn't like the finish. I thought the action in the match was fine though.
Yeah, it was fine. It was a TV match on pay-per-view that you paid for.
I mean, a lot of this was like a really good episode of SmackDown.
Oh, I disagree with that. I only felt this match was the one that felt like it belonged on TV. Maybe the 6-man tag on the pre-show, but then that doesn't really count.
Okay, so I got that right in the predictions. You got it wrong. I gave it 2.5. Maybe it was a 2.
Maybe I was going to say that's a bit. I feel that might be generous.
I just like the fiery costume that Becky Lynch had.
I just think Becky's great. I think Becky's so good, and she's
really good.
I didn't do any research into this because I could do it better, but I'm wondering, I'd be so interested, I'll just look at Wikipedia. When was the last time Becky had a storyline?
that doesn't count. So she was ridden off television when the welcoming committee, the riot squad attacked her.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
She was like one of the first people to be attacked. They shut her in a door, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then she came back. And she got a great pop, and then she wasn't really used again.
I think it was Alexa Bliss. Before Alexa Bliss jumped over
the title,
when she was kind of feuding with Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. I feel like that was the last time Becky Lynch had an actual story where she was
a year ago,
and the rest, because that was like before. That was like in 2016.
Yeah, do you want an interesting stat?
Oh, I'd love one.
So this is relating to the main event. The first SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view of the new brand split era. AJ Styles ended as champion.
Yeah, he won the belt, didn't he?
He won the belt. The last SmackDown pay-per-view of the exclusive pay-per-view of the brand split era, which is this one, AJ retained.
I wish you told me that before I did my video for Fastlane Rumours. Could have dropped that little fact in there.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. We should talk more.
Yeah. So this next match was actually one of my favourite parts of the show.
Loved this.
So it was the Usos versus the New Day. It's been built up out of nowhere, really, just like 3-week build, and they were just thrown together after the New Day won a number one contenders match, and we were like, okay, great. They always have great matches. Excited to see it, but don't really care. But then, in the space of just 2 weeks, a couple of promos, they turned it into absolute fire.
Didn't they just? And they played the video package again that they played on Tuesday, and it just got me even more excited for this match. And this was exactly the match that I wanted it to match. I'm doing big air quotes for podcast listeners. That I wanted it to be, because it was them hitting each other's moves. We know each other so well. This is the next stage of our evolution, is that we are hitting each other's moves. And I loved it. It felt so awesome. And then we got the brilliant ending to the match as well. Everything about this I absolutely loved.
I think it wasn't so much them doing each other's moves because they know each other so well. I think it was a battle of respect now. Like before, that it was quite a respectful feud between the two teams. They're just like, we tear it up every time we go in there. But that go home promo, or maybe 2 weeks before, it was 2 weeks before, it got personal. And this time it felt like they were trying to actively disrespect each other.
Interesting.
They weren't going for the noble respect route. They were trying to undermine each other.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I loved it. It was Kofi and Xavier in there. Big E was on the side. Big E cut a great promo backstage on the pre-show, actually. Just remembered that. Yeah, just another straight fire. I don't know why I keep saying fire. Just thinking about Becky Lynch's costume too much. But this was, hot opening exchange. The New Day using the Usos splash finisher. And because they've both kind of got call and response chants, they could do so. New Day to the Usos thing.
Usos did the boom drop and they hit the midnight
really
hour.
Good.
Like it was, I loved everything about this, and it sets up perfectly that WrestleMania match that we talked about on the prediction show that we thought might happen, which is the Usos, New Day, and the Bludgeon Brothers, where you replicate the success of DIY, Authors of Pain, and the Revival, where you got DIY and the Revival, these two warring teams working together to take on the bigger, badder team. And I'm now super excited for that match at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah. Especially if it's a ladder match.
It's not going to be a ladder match.
I don't want it to be.
No, that one doesn't need to be a ladder match. But oh, man, I'm so looking forward to it.
So usually when WWE build up something with so much anticipation, you're like, yeah, I really just want to see these two teams have a really great match. Like AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. You're going to feel cheated if that ends in a screwy finish when Baron Corbin interferes, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, this just worked perfectly.
Yeah,
I think
really
it was
did.
the severity and the seriousness of the beatdown afterwards, and the way they sold it through a few video packages afterwards.
Yeah.
So the Bludgeon Brothers come down after an Usos dive. Everyone's down on the floor. Bludgeon Brothers enter with music, with their hammers, and just kill everyone.
God, didn't they? They murderized both teams, just all over the show. There was attacking the Usos, and they were like body slamming the Usos on top of each other, and then Eric Rowan body slammed Luke Harper onto them, and then Eric Rowan goes to do this big splash, and Luke Harper pushes him down like an assisted splash. It just looked like it absolutely sucked for everyone involved, apart from the Bludgeon Brothers, who were just having the time of their lives, just throwing all these dudes around. It was so awesome. Yeah. And then it culminated in them. They were about to walk away.
I thought you were going to talk about the... they actually used the hammers as a weapon.
They did indeed, trying to put those hammers over. You got to, because they're awesome. But there was a spot when one of the Usos was like leaning up against the steps, and he swung at the hammer and they moved out of the way. Tom Phillips was great there. He was like, I'm so glad he moved, because like he'd be dead. But it culminated as the Bludgeon Brothers were going to walk away, and then realised, we probably could do a little bit more damage here. Grabbed the stairs and did the powerbomb spot to Xavier Woods. The crowd was so concerned they chanted for tables, and the Bludgeon Brothers walked away and booing because they didn't get a table spot.
And Xavier just laid there, selling it like he was glitching out.
I had this is going to be a bit of a revealing story to tell you. I haven't actually told you this one yet. I had a legit concern at one point, because Xavier is selling this thing and it was really like he was convulsing. It was an incredible sell job that I was like, oh God, I really hope. I genuinely thought, God, I hope he's okay.
This is the same guy who once vomited to sell something in TNA. Remember?
Yeah, I think that wasn't on purpose though.
Oh, do you think?
No, I think the story is that he just he took it at such an angle that he threw up.
Yeah.
Is it the Amazing Reds that he took that move off?
I can't remember. It was like a super kick to the throat, wasn't it?
No, it was. I think it was the Assisted Red. The Amazing Red, when he people were on their knees and he used to do a Hurricane Run and DDT onto people. I think that was the spot. But anywho, when I woke up at 5:30 this morning, Fastlane wasn't working on the network. It just I'd play it and it would just no, it's not working. Video can't play back, and I'm like, something wrong with the PS4 app. So turn that off, put it onto my laptop. Won't work on my laptop either. I'm like, try it on my iPad. Won't work on there either. And I was like, so I had to watch it through other means, because I had to in the end.
We subscribed to the network.
Yeah, so I had to watch it through other means. And then when I saw this spot and I saw the way that Xavier Woods was selling this and they were doing the big stretcher job, I suddenly thought, what if it's not working on the network because something really terrible has happened?
Oh,
and I had this genuine
God.
fear. I was like, okay, what are we going to do for the review? Or do we do a review? What are we going to do for the WrestleRamble? That's this horrible thought.
You worked yourself into a shoot,
I worked myself into a shoot, brother. And then it was when the other means didn't work for the third part, so I was like, well, I'll check back on the network. Network worked fine. I was like, okay, everything's all right then. But I had this genuine sense of panic in myself that something terrible had happened.
The Bludgeon Brothers are so over with you. You thought they killed Xavier Woods. Brian Alvarez said on the Wrestling Observer review that it looked like Xavier took it really badly, that his head whipped back on the corner. I didn't see that. I thought he took it quite safely as safely as he can.
Yeah.
But yes, really good match. Well, it was a really good match for the time they were given. They couldn't have done any more. They told a really good story, and the angle afterwards was fantastic.
Awesome stuff.
I gave it 3.5, and we both. Well, you said Usos.
Yeah.
I said double DQ.
But why did you say double DQ?
Because you convinced me to say double DQ. You didn't say your own advice.
No, I know. I booked a really good storyline and then thought, WWE won't do that. But I'm an idiot for not thinking that.
And finally, because that AJ Styles had a promo here, Nakamura comes in at the end and says, "I'll retain."
I'll see you at WrestleMania.
Yeah. And
that's 2 matches now on this WrestleMania card. 3 matches now that actually 4. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to WrestleMania this year. I'm excited to see the Rousey match, just out of intrigue more than anything, I suppose. But I think the triple threat for the IC title will be really fun.
You mean the 8-way?
Whatever it's going to be. But as it currently stands, I'm excited for that triple threat match. Really excited for the SmackDown tag team match if that ends up being New Day, Usos, and the Bludgeon Brothers. Really excited for Nakamura, AJ, and Lesnar, Roman.
What? Are you?
The last time they had a match, it was great.
You are such a shill.
Such a shill for WWE.
So Charlotte Flair defended her WWE SmackDown Women's Championship next against Ruby Riott. I thought this was also okay.
I really enjoyed this match as well. I'm a big fan of both Charlotte and Ruby Riott, and I thought they did a great job in getting the crowd into the match. And it was really nice to see Ruby come down to the ring on her own, not flanked by the Riott squad. I think it actually made her look more legit, more impressive. And
they were down there with her.
No, she came down to the ring on her own, and then they jumped the barricade to support her. But I just thought it made her look really cool, just coming down on her own, being introduced on her own. And I thought they both worked together really well. I actually really enjoyed this match more than I thought I would do.
Riott has a great look. We said every week we're fans of her. It's just she's been booked into oblivion almost. But I thought she had a really good visual contrast with Charlotte, who's tall and tanned and blonde. And then there's Riott, who's a little bit shorter and her hair's dark and it's shaved and she's got tattoos and she's pale. It really looked like a clash of babyface versus heel.
It was.
I liked that.
And Ruby did some really cool spot where she kind of did this like falling back senton off the rope, which they said like it looks like a stage dive, which just works fine within her gimmick as well. Yeah, I've really enjoyed a lot of this match. I thought it was really good.
So it had a bit of an awkward ending where Logan and Morgan tried to interfere. This sent Lynch and Naomi, who had come down earlier, into the ring. Referee ejected Naomi and Lynch from ringside.
I thought it was a really cool spot as well because Morgan and Logan weren't getting into the ring, but they were teasing like they were going to. And Lynch and Naomi, like complete doofuses, thought they were going to, so just ran into the ring being like, "Oh, get out with you." So the referee ejected them, and it was just like, what a brilliant master plan. But then the referee ejected them as well. It was a really well placed spot because it looked like the heels were going to get one over on the baby faces, but then the referee ejected the heels as well. Got down to a one-on-one match, and Charlotte won with the figure eight. I thought
quickly afterwards.
I thought it was quite a nice little ending sequence.
I thought it had a few more minutes left in it. I thought after the ejections from ringside, I would have liked to have seen quite a hot 5 minutes just between those two.
Yeah, I agree.
Charlotte won very quickly after
But we had to get that Roman Reigns video
Yes,
package.
of course. Sorry.
You keep saying...
It was a full-on 3 hours, this show.
You keep saying we need more time on these matches, but if you forget we've got to plug Raw stuff on this SmackDown pay-per-view when
they're great video packages.
They are great video packages, but these warring brands have got to promote each other's shows. You forget that sometimes.
But that wasn't the only Raw things on SmackDown.
Speaking of segue.
Asuka came down after this match and pointed at the WrestleMania sign.
And what a great moment this was. I really liked
good.
it.
Crowd was so into it, genuinely surprised and shouting, although you kind of predicted this as well and didn't go with it. I guess there wasn't a prediction thing to put this in. It was great. My only criticism was Charlotte went between smiles, like, yeah, we're going to do this, to angry. And I was like, oh my God, the angry face is so much better for this.
Yeah, I think...
Be annoyed.
Yeah, I think she was almost corpsing a little bit, being like, oh God, this is a really cool moment. Because this is the match that Charlotte said she wanted at WrestleMania. She didn't really want to fight anyone else. She wants to fight face Asuka, break the streak and all that sort of stuff. It's a bigger match than they could probably put her against than anyone on SmackDown.
Yes.
Because as much as I love Becky Lynch, she's got zero momentum behind her at the moment. So this is a much bigger match. So it was just a really, really cool moment. The crowd were really into it. And I think that Charlotte just broke character a little bit. But yeah, so Asuka's now on SmackDown Live, and it will be the first time they've ever had a match together in WWE.
Is she now? How does this work? She's not on SmackDown Live.
I assume she is, yeah.
She can challenge for the title.
Well, the way I read it and the way I did it in the Fastlane review is that she's jumped brands to SmackDown. Because I
don't know how that works.
But there'd be no point in putting her on Raw because she can't feud with Charlotte on Raw.
Well, you keep them apart. One of the best things about when they were standing next to each other was like, oh my God, they've kept them apart all this time. And this feels really, really big. This feels big time right now when they stood next to each other. So, really exciting stuff. So, Fastlane, in all, really good main event. And two very good angles with Asuka turning up and the Bludgeon Brothers beatdown. And everything else was fine to fun.
Yeah, as I said on the prediction show, we were going into this with such low expectations that it had a very low bar that it needed to jump over, and it very much stepped over that bar.
Well done.
It was they are the low bar, and they did really well to step over it. I enjoyed the show.
WWE, you did it better. Then yes, well done.
Did, yeah.
But that's all we've got time for today. So please click the videos that have just appeared over our laps to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk news and WrestleRamble. Of course, subscribe to this channel because now we're on our way to 1 million subscribers, and find this on wherever you get your podcasts too, just by searching WrestleRamble. This has been Luke Owen. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was Rambling.